The Mercedes slowed down. Harper waved frantically, 7 months pregnant, her feet bleeding, contractions 5 minutes apart. She could see his face through the windshield. Her husband, Garrett. Their eyes met for exactly 3 seconds. Then she saw the woman in the passenger seat. Blonde hair, manicured nails, hand on his thigh, laughing. The car accelerated. Dust kicked into Harper's face as the taillights disappeared around the curve. Harper stood there on Riverside Road, lone, in labor, miles from help, and she realized something that would change everything. Her husband had just driven past her, had looked her directly in the eyes, had seen his 7 months pregnant wife in obvious distress, and had chosen to keep driving with his mistress. What Harper didn't know yet was that this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice, a calculated decision, and the messages on his iPad would prove that he'd been hoping for exactly this outcome. Because losing the baby would make his life so much easier. This is the true story of Harper Whitfield, the woman who walked 10 miles while in labor, who lost her daughter on that walk, and who discovered that her husband's betrayal went deeper than she could have ever imagined. But this is also the story of what happened next, when Harper decided she was done being silent, done being the fool, done protecting the man who let their daughter die. What Garrett didn't expect was that Harper would find the evidence, that she would hire the best divorce attorney in the state, that she would serve him papers in front of his entire board of directors. And he definitely didn't expect that his carefully constructed life would crumble in less than 72 hours. Stay with me, because this story will make you angry. It will break your heart. It will make you want to scream. But I promise you, it will also restore your faith that justice is possible, that truth matters, and that some women are absolutely unbreakable. This is Harper's story, and it starts with a broken-down car on a hot June afternoon. The first contraction hit as Harper's car sputtered and died on Riverside Road. She gripped the steering wheel, breathed through it, counted to 10. The pain radiated from her lower back around to her belly, different from the Braxton Hicks contractions she'd been having for weeks. Sharper, more insistent. Harper was 7 months pregnant, 28 weeks exactly. Not time yet, not even close to time. The engine ticked as it cooled. The air conditioning died with it. June heat pressed against the windows. She could feel sweat all red-arming on her upper lip. Her phone sat in the cup holder. 2% battery. The little red icon blinked at her. She'd forgotten to charge it overnight. Again. Garrett always said she was scattered, couldn't keep track of simple things. Harper picked up the phone with shaking hands, unlocked it. The screen showed 1 bar of service. Out here on Riverside Road, that was lucky. This was the private drive that led to their gated community. Just residents used it. No shops, no gas stations. Just 10 miles of winding road through empty fields. She called Garrett. It rang 4 times, went to voicemail. His voice. Smooth. Professional. You've reached Garrett Whitfield. Leave a message, and I'll return your call. Garrett, it's me. The car died on Riverside Road, about 2 miles past the turnoff. I need you to come get me. Please. I'm having contractions. Call me back. She hung up. Waited. Watched the phone. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. The way women do when they're anxious, when they're turning fear into a ritual, into something they can control. No response. Harper tried texting. Her fingers fumbled on the screen. Car dead, Riverside or die, please come. The message sent. The little delivered notification appeared. He'd gotten it. He'd see it. She waited. 1 minute. 2. 5. The baby kicked. A strong kick against her ribs. Harper put her hand on her belly. It's okay, sweet girl. Daddy's coming. He's always busy, but he'll come. He always comes when we really need him. She believed that. Had to believe that. 6 years of marriage. Garrett worked hard, long hours, building his tech company from nothing. She understood. She'd always understood. Another contraction. Stronger. Harper checked her watch. 7 minutes since the last one. That was close. Too close for comfort. She looked out at the empty road. No cars. It was 3:15 on a Tuesday afternoon. Everyone was at work. The residents of Cascade Heights didn't drive home until 6, 7, sometimes 8. Harper tried calling Garrett again. Voicemail. Immediately. That meant he'd declined the call. She tried texting again. Please, having contractions. Need help. Delivered read. The little notification said read. He'd seen it. He'd read her message. He knew she needed help. Aquí. She waited. 5 minutes? 10. The phone died. The screen went black. No charger in the car. She'd taken it out last week to use in the house. Forgotten to put it back. Scattered. Just like he said. Harper sat in the dead car. The heat was building, making her dizzy. She couldn't stay here. Not in this heat. Not pregnant. Not having contractions. She opened the car door. The heat hit her like a wall. 95 degrees, maybe more. The asphalt shimmered with heat waves. Harper got out. She was wearing a sundress, light blue, maternity, and heels. 2-inch heels because she'd just come from her doctor's appointment. Dr. Chase had said everything looked good. Blood pressure a little high, need to reduce stress, rest more, as if Harper could control whether her husband came home, whether he remembered she existed. She took off her heels. The asphalt burned through her pantyhose. She didn't care. She couldn't walk 10 miles in heels. Harper started walking, one foot in front of the other. The shoulder of the road was dirt and gravel. It hurt her feet, but it was cooler than the asphalt. She counted steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, bam. The way pregnant women do, turning pain into numbers, anxiety into control, making the unbearable bearable through ritual. A contraction hit at step 214. Harper stopped, leaned against a fence post, breathed through it. The sun beat down on her head, on her shoulders. She could feel her skin burning. The baby kicked weakly, not the strong kicks from earlier. Sluggish, tired. Hold on, baby. Hold on. We're going home. Daddy will come, or we'll get home. Either way, we'll be okay. Harper walked. Mile 1. The contractions were 6 minutes apart now. Her mouth was dry. So dry. She'd had water at the doctor's office. But that was an hour ago. Sweat soaked through her dress, plastered it to her back, to her thighs. Mile 2, 5 minutes between contractions. Harper's feet were bleeding. She could feel it. Dirt and blood mixing in her pantyhose, making them stick to her skin. She sat down on the side of the road. Just for a minute, just to catch her breath. The contractions were getting stronger, lasting longer. Please, baby, please hold on. Daddy's coming. He's coming. But even as she said it, Harper didn't quite believe it anymore. She heard an engine, a car approaching from behind. Harper struggled to her feet, turned, waved her arms. A black Mercedes SUV, their car, the one Garrett had bought last year. $50,000. He'd said it was an investment, safe, reliable, perfect for a family. Relief flooded through Harper. Hot tears sprang to her eyes. Thank God. Thank God he'd come. He'd gotten her messages. He'd come to save her. She stood in the road, waving, both arms over her head. The car was slowing down. She could see through the windshield now. See Garrett's face. His eyes met hers. 3 seconds. She would remember this moment for the rest of her life. 3 seconds where she was pregnant, in pain, bleeding feet, on the side of the road, waving at her husband, and he looked right at her. Then Harper saw the passenger seat, saw Sienna, Garrett's assistant, her blonde hair perfect, her hand on Garrett's thigh, laughing, her head thrown back, laughing at something he'd just said. The car didn't stop, the engine revved. Garrett looked away, looked back at the road, his jaw set, eyes forward. The Mercedes accelerated, drove past, dust kicked up, got in Harper's eyes, in her mouth. She stood there, arms still raised, watching the taillights disappear around the curve. The baby kicked once, hard, like goodbye. Harper lowered her arms. She didn't cry, couldn't cry. There wasn't enough water in her body for tears. Her brain couldn't process what had just happened, what it meant that her husband had looked her in the eyes, had seen her 7 months pregnant and in distress, and had driven away, with another woman in the car, with Sienna. Harper started walking again. She walked the remaining 8 miles. Later, she wouldn't remember any of it. Wouldn't remember the pain, the contractions, the way her vision went gray at the edges, the way she stumbled, fell, got back up, kept walking. She wouldn't remember because some trauma is too big to store properly. Some betrayals break the recording equipment in your brain. Harper walked and walked and walked. Someone was calling her name. Harper, Harper. The voice sounded far away, underwater. She was lying down, not walking anymore. When had she stopped walking? She couldn't remember. There was gravel under her cheek. She could feel each piece. Sharp, distinct, real. Harper, can you hear me? It's Marcus, Garrett's brother. I'm calling an ambulance. Marcus, the black sheep, the one the family didn't talk about. Harper tried to open her eyes. Everything was blurry. She was at the gate, the electronic gate that led into Cascade Heights. She'd made it 10 miles, and she'd walked all 10 miles. The gate was closed. She couldn't remember the code, couldn't make her fingers work to punch it in. Stay with me, Harper. Help is coming. Sirens, growing louder. Harper closed her eyes. She was so tired, so thirsty. The baby hadn't kicked in a while. How long? She couldn't remember. The ambulance ride was fragments, fluorescent lights, too bright, the EMT's face above hers, young, concerned. Ma'am, when did the contractions start? Harper tried to answer. Her lips were cracked, bleeding. Hours. I don't know. Hours ago. We can't find a fetal heartbeat. We're taking you to County General. Can't find a heartbeat. The words didn't make sense. Of course there was a heartbeat. Harper could feel the baby. Right there. Inside her. Heavy. Real. Except she hadn't felt movement in a while. Since the car. Since Garrett drove past. The emergency room was cold. So cold after the heat. Harper shivered. They'd cut off her dress. The blue one. She'd liked that dress. Now it was in pieces on the floor. Dusty. Bloody. Ruined. We need to do an ultrasound. Can you tell us what happened? A nurse. Kind eyes. Tired eyes. Harper tried to focus. My car, it broke down. I walked. I had to get home. How far did you walk? 10 miles, maybe. I don't know. The nurse's eyes widened. 10 miles? In this heat? While pregnant? Dr. Chase came in, Harper's OBGYN. She'd just seen her hours ago. Everything had been fine. Everything had been perfect. Dr. Chase's face told Harper everything before the words came. The way her professional mask cracked, just for a second. The way her eyes went soft with sympathy. Harper, I'm so sorry. There's no heartbeat. The words hung in the air. Harper heard them, understood them, didn't believe them. Check again. Please check again. Dr. Chase sat on the edge of the bed. Took Harper's hand. We've checked 3 times. The stress, the dehydration, the physical exertion in extreme heat. Your body went into premature labor. The baby didn't survive. I'm so sorry. What was it? Harper heard herself ask. Her voice sounded strange, distant, like someone else was speaking. A girl. You were carrying a girl. A daughter. Harper had lost a daughter. The daughter who would never exist, never breathe, never open her eyes, never call her mama. Dr. Chase was talking. Something about procedures, about induced labor, about delivering the baby even though she was already gone. Harper didn't listen. Couldn't listen. She asked for a blanket. When the nurse brought it, Harper pulled it up to her chin, stared at the ceiling tiles, counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The way women do when crying would break them completely, when the only thing holding them together is counting, breathing, existing from one second to the next. 90 minutes later, Garrett arrived. Harper heard his voice in the hallway first. Where is she? Is she okay? No one would tell me anything. He came into the room, fresh from the shower. She could smell his cologne. Tom Ford, $200 a bottle. He was wearing different clothes than earlier, a different shirt. He'd gone home, had time to shower, to change, to erase the evidence of where he'd been, who he'd been with. Harper, Jesus, Marcus called me. What happened? Are you okay? His voice full of concern. almost genuine. If she didn't know what she knew, if she hadn't seen what she'd seen. Where were you? Harper's voice was flat, dead, like the baby. At the office. Emergency meeting with investors. My phone was on silent. I came as soon as I heard. The lie hung in the air between them. Solid, visible, undeniable. I saw you, Riverside Road, around 2:15. Watch him calculate. Watch the gears turn behind his eyes. Decide which lie works. Which version of reality he can sell. Sweetheart, you're in shock. Traumatized. Your mind can create memories that aren't real. It's a well-documented phenomenon. The heat, the stress, you probably saw someone else's car. I was walking, on foot, for 8 miles, while having contractions. You looked right at me. Sienna was in the car. His face shifted, just for a second. Caught, trapped. Then the mask came back. Smooth, concerned. Husband worried about unstable wife. You're grieving, you need rest. We'll talk about this when you're more rational. Dr. Chase stepped forward. Her voice was cold, professional. Mr. Whitfield, your wife walked 10 miles in 90-degree heat while in premature labor. She lost your daughter because no one came to help her. Perhaps you should listen to what she's saying. Garrett turned to the doctor, gave her his professional smile, the one he used with investors. Thank you, doctor, but my wife is clearly not herself. This is a family matter. I'll handle it. He turned back to Harper. Different tone now. Softer, more patronizing. You're exhausted. You're not making sense. Rest now. We'll get through this together. I promise. After he left, Harper whispered to Dr. Chase. I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. Dr. Chase squeezed her hand. I know you do. Claire arrived an hour later, Harper's best friend since college. She took one look at Harper's face and started crying. Harper couldn't cry. She was too empty for tears. While Harper stared at the wall, Claire plugged in her phone. It powered on slowly. Messages loaded. One from Garrett, sent at 2:47 p.m. Sorry, an important meeting. Can't get away. Call AAA? Sent 32 minutes after he drove past her, after he saw her on the side of the road, after he chose Sienna over his pregnant wife having an emergency. Claire saw it, read it, looked at Harper with horror dawning in her eyes. Harper. What meeting? He was supposed to be in the office all day. I saw his calendar this morning when I dropped off coffee. No meeting scheduled. But Harper already knew. She'd known the moment she saw Sienna's hand on his thigh, the moment he accelerated past her instead of stopping. She'd known. But having proof was different. Proof made it real, made it undeniable. Harper closed her eyes. The ceiling tiles swam behind her eyelids. She could still count them. 1, 2, 3, forever. She could count forever and never reach the end of this pain. But she didn't know yet what else Garrett had been doing during her pregnancy. She didn't know about the messages, the money, the ring, the conspiracy. She would find out, but not yet. Right now, all she knew was that her daughter was dead, and her husband had watched it happen. 3 days later, Harper came home. Garrett had been staying at his downtown condo, giving her space. That's what he called it. Space. The house felt different, empty. Not just because she was alone. Something essential had been removed. The future that was supposed to happen here. The life that should have filled these rooms. Harper stood in the hallway. Their wedding photo hung on the wall. 6 years ago, she'd been 24, Garrett 29, both of them smiling, young, hopeful, idiots. She walked past it, down the hall, to the nursery. The door was closed. Harper put her hand on the knob, stood there, couldn't turn it, couldn't go in, not yet. The room they'd painted together on a Saturday in March, soft yellow, gender neutral. We'll be surprised, they'd said, laughing, planning, building a future that no longer existed. Harper went to the living room instead, sat on the couch, stared at the wall. Time passed. She didn't know how much. The light changed. Morning to afternoon to evening. Her phone buzzed. Messages from friends, from her mother, from her sister Olivia. Everyone wanting to know if she was okay. how she was holding up, if she needed anything. She didn't answer. What would she say? No, I'm not okay. My daughter died. My husband let her die. I'll never be okay again. The next day, Harper forced herself to move, to function. She couldn't stay on the couch forever. Though part of her wanted to stop. Just stop breathing, stop thinking, stop existing in a world where her daughter didn't. She went to the nursery, opened the door this time. The crib was still in pieces against the wall. Garrett had bought it 2 months ago, said he'd assemble it this weekend, then next weekend, then the weekend after that. There was always something more important. A meeting, a call, a crisis at work. Now it would never be assembled, never hold a sleeping baby, never be anything but pieces of wood that represented what should have been. Harper sat in the rocking chair, the one her grandmother had given them, solid oak, generations old. She rocked, forward, back, forward, back. The motion women do when comforting babies they'll never hold, when their bodies don't understand that there's no one to comfort anymore. She sat there for 2 hours, rocking, remembering. 6 months ago, the pregnancy announcement. Harper had been nervous. They hadn't been trying. She was on birth control. But birth control fails. Life happens. She'd taken 3 tests, all positive. She'd made Garrett's favorite dinner, set the table, candles, wine for him, water for her. When he came home, she'd been smiling, glowing. Garrett, I'm pregnant. He'd looked up from his laptop. He always had his laptop at dinner, always working, always building, always somewhere else, even when he was right there. Oh, wow, we weren't planning this yet. Not congratulations. Not, that's amazing. Not, I'm so happy. I know, but it happened, and I'm really happy about it. Timing's not great. The merger's happening. We're at a critical stage. And the merger's always happening. Life doesn't wait for perfect timing. He'd close the laptop, put on a smile, the one that didn't reach his eyes. You're right, this is amazing, we're having a baby. But his first reaction, that flicker of annoyance, the way his face had fallen before he caught himself. Harper had seen it, had ignored it, had made excuses. He's stressed. He's surprised. He'll be excited once it sinks in. 5 months ago, nursery shopping. Harper had been so excited. 17 weeks pregnant, starting to show, finally ready to make it real, to pick out the crib, the changing table, the rocking chair. They'd gone to the baby store on Saturday. Garrett's phone had rung in the parking lot. It's work, I have to take it. But we just got here. Harper, this deal is worth $12 million. I'll be 10 minutes. She'd gone inside alone. The saleswoman had been kind, helpful. Is your husband joining you? He's on a call. He'll be right in. 45 minutes later, Garrett still wasn't there. Harper had picked out the crib, the yellow one, simple, beautiful, perfect. She'd call out, voicemail, texted, no response. She'd bought the crib, arranged delivery, waited in the parking lot. Other couples walked past, holding hands, laughing, looking at tiny clothes, building their futures together. Harper sat on a bench, alone, her hands on her belly, feeling the baby move, telling herself it was fine. He was busy. He was building their future. The money he was making, it was all for them. Garrett showed up an hour later, Starbucks in his hand, for himself. He hadn't thought to get her anything. Sorry, that took longer than I thought. Did you get the crib? Yeah, I got it. Great, what color? Yellow, like we talked about. Perfect, Ishal. He hadn't asked to see it, hadn't asked what it looked like, hadn't seemed to care that she'd picked it out alone, that she'd made their first big parenting decision by herself. 3 months ago, the 20-week ultrasound, the appointment where they'd find out the sex, where they'd see their baby, really see her, moving, alive, real. Garrett had promised he'd be there. I wouldn't miss it. This is huge. I'll definitely be there. Harper had sat in Dr. Chase's waiting room, surrounded by couples. Everyone had someone. She sat alone, checking her phone, waiting. The receptionist called her name. Harper Whitfield. Can we wait 5 more minutes? My husband is on his way. They'd waited 10 minutes, 15. Finally, Dr. Chase came out, kind, understanding. Harper, we need to keep on schedule. Should we go ahead? Text from Garrett. Emergency at office, record it for me? Harper had nodded, smiled, lied to the doctor. He can't make it. Work emergency. Let's go ahead. She'd lain on the exam table, alone, gel on her belly, cold. Dr. Chase moved the wand. The screen showed grayscale images. A head, hands, feet, a beating heart. Would you like to know the sex? Yes, please. You're having a girl. Congratulations. A girl, Harper's daughter, swimming on the screen. Perfect, whole, loved by at least one parent. Dr. Chase had recorded it, given Harper the video. Harper had watched it alone in the parking lot, cried alone, celebrated alone. Her daughter's first appearance in the world. And only Harper had been there to see it. She'd made excuses then, too. He's building his empire for us, for our family. Once the baby comes, he'll change. He'll be present. He'll be the father I know he can be. Women know this math. One disappointment explained away. 2 disappointments rationalized. 3 becomes a pattern they refuse to see. By 10, they're rewriting history to make it bearable. Harper sat in the rocking chair, understanding for the first time. She'd spent the entire pregnancy making excuses for him. To her friends, to her mother, to herself. He's stressed with work. He's building something important. Once the baby comes, everything will change. But nothing was going to change. Because Garrett didn't want it to change. Didn't want the baby. Didn't want the responsibility. Didn't want her. Harper stood, started packing up the nursery. She couldn't leave it like this. Couldn't sell the house with this room frozen in time. Waiting for a baby who would never come. She took down the mobile, packed up the tiny clothes, the blankets, the stuffed animals. Each item was a memory, a hope, a future that died on Riverside Road. Under the changing table, she found Garrett's iPad. He'd been looking at cribs one Saturday. Must have set it down. Forgotten it. The battery was dead. Harper almost left it there. Almost. But something made her pick it up, plug it in, wait for it to charge. When it powered on, it opened directly to his messages. He'd forgotten it synced with his phone. Forgot to require a password on the iPad. Harper saw Sienna's name. Saw messages. Recent messages. Messages from yesterday. From the day Harper lost the baby. From months ago. She started reading. She couldn't stop. Each message was a knife. Each word was confirmation of what she'd suspected, what she'd refused to believe. March 15th, the week Harper announced the pregnancy. Sienna, did you tell her yet? Garrett, yes, she's thrilled. I'm fucked. Sienna, you said you'd leave her before this happened. Garrett, I know, but a baby complicates things. Divorce gets expensive with kids involved. Sienna, so I'm supposed to wait while you play house? Garrett, baby, you know I love you. Just give me time to handle this the right way. Harper's hands shook. She kept reading, scrolling, finding worse. Always worse. April 22nd. Sienna, I'm tired of being the secret. Garrett, the pregnancy won't last forever. Women over 30, first pregnancy, complications happen. Nature takes care of these things sometimes. Harper dropped the iPad, picked it up, read it again, making sure she'd read it right. Nature takes care of these things sometimes. He'd been hoping she'd miscarry, waiting for it, planning for it, wishing for their daughter to die so his life would be easier. Harper's breath came short, fast. She couldn't get air. The room spun. She sat on the floor, put her head between her knees, tried to breathe, tried to process, tried to understand how she'd married a man who hoped their baby would die. She picked up the iPad again, found June 8th, the day it happened, the day the universe granted Garrett's wish, 1:47 p.m., Sienna. How much longer? I made reservations at Cartier. 2:04 p.m., Garrett. Leaving office now, told Sharon to forward my calls. 2:18 p.m., Garrett. Slight detour, Harper's car broke down apparently. 2:19 p.m. Sienna, are you going to get her? 2:20 p.m. Garrett, it's Riverside Road, she's fine. AAA can handle it. 2:21 p.m. Sienna, but she's pregnant. 2:22 p.m. Garrett, exactly. Time to grow up and handle things herself. Baby's coming whether I enable her dependence or not. Harper read that message 3 times. 4 times, but he saw him. Time to grow up and handle things herself. While she was in labor, while she was walking, while she was losing their daughter. She kept reading. Had to know. Had to see all of it. 2:47 p.m. Garrett. Told her I was in a meeting. She'll never know. 3:14 p.m. Sienna. You sure about this? 3:15 p.m. Garrett. She saw us. I saw her face in the mirror. 3:16 p.m. Sienna. Oh my God, Garrett. 3:17 p.m. Garrett. Relax. It's shock. Heat exhaustion. She won't remember clearly. People see what they want to see. 3:45 p.m. Garrett. Ring looks perfect on you, by the way. Ring. Harper stared at that word. Ring. He'd bought Sienna a ring while Harper walked. While Harper had contractions, while their daughter died. He'd been shopping for engagement rings for his mistress while his wife lost their baby. Harper said it out loud to the empty nursery, to the ghost of her daughter, to the walls that would never hear a baby cry by. He killed her. Maybe not with his hands, but he killed her. And somehow saying it made it real, made it true, made it something she could never unknow or unsee or forgive. Harper sat on the nursery floor for hours, the iPad in her lap, reading every message, every laugh, every betrayal, taking screenshots, methodically, carefully, backing them up to the cloud, to her laptop, to an external drive. Evidence, she was gathering evidence. For what, she didn't know yet, but she knew she'd need it, knew she couldn't let him talk his way out of this, couldn't let him gaslight her again. By midnight, she had everything. Every message between Garrett and Sienna going back 8 months. Before the pregnancy, during the pregnancy, after. But Harper wasn't done. If Garrett was lying about this, what else was he lying about? She logged into their bank accounts, joint accounts. She had every right to see them, though Garrett had always handled the finances. You don't need to worry about money, sweetheart. Focus on making our home beautiful. I'll handle the boring stuff. She'd felt cherished, protected, taken care of. Now she saw it for what it was. Control, keeping her in the dark, keeping her dependent. The credit card statements loaded. Harper started with January, worked forward. February 14th, Cartier, $12,000, Valentine's Day. Harper had gotten drugstore chocolates and wilted roses. Sorry, babe. Crazy week. Forgot what day it was. But he hadn't forgotten. He'd just been buying jewelry for someone else. March 3rd, Ritz-Carlton Suite, $1,200. Business trip to Chicago. That's what he'd said. Harper had been home with morning sickness so bad she couldn't keep down water. March 15th, Tiffany & Company, $8,500. The day after Harper announced the pregnancy. The day after Garrett texted Sienna that he was fucked. April 7th through 9th, St. Lucia Resort, $6,000. Easter weekend. Garrett had said he had a conference in Denver. Harper had spent Easter alone, too sick to go to her mother's, throwing up every hour, crying, missing her husband, while he was on a beach with his mistress. May 22nd, Manhattan apartment deposit, $15,000. An apartment in Manhattan, where Sienna lived. He was setting up a love nest, planning their future, while Harper decorated the nursery. June 8th, Cartier, $24,000. The day Harper lost the baby. The ring Garrett mentioned in his text, the ring that looked perfect on Sienna. $24,000 while his wife walked 10 miles and miscarried. Harper added it up. $102,000 in 5 months. Their money, joint money, the money they'd saved for the baby's college fund, for Harper's maternity leave, for the life they were supposedly building together. He'd spent it on his mistress, on hotels, on jewelry, on an apartment, on a future that didn't include Harper or their daughter. Claire came over the next morning. Harper had texted her. Simple message. Need to show you something. Claire took one look at Harper's face and knew. What happened? What did he do? Harper handed her the iPad. Read. Claire read. Her face went white, then red, then white again. Harper, oh my God. Harper, I'm so sorry. Did you know? The question hung between them. Claire's face crumpled. That was answer enough. Harper, I need to tell you something. Here it comes. The other shoe. The thing that would make this somehow worse. I saw them 3 months ago at Aria restaurant. They were kissing. I confronted Garrett in the parking lot. Harper felt cold. So cold. You knew. For 3 months. And you didn't tell me. I told him to tell you or I would. He said you were fragile, that the pregnancy was complicated, high risk, that stress could make you lose the baby. He begged me to wait until after the birth, said he'd end it then, said if I told you and you lost the baby from the stress, it would be my fault. Claire was crying now. I thought I was protecting you. I thought I was doing the right thing. Harper, I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have. So you let me walk around pregnant, glowing, planning a future, while my husband was shopping for engagement rings for another woman. While everyone knew, while I was the only idiot who didn't. Not everyone knew. Who else? Claire hesitated. I don't know for sure, but your mother-in-law, Ruth, she made a comment about how men in Garrett's position have certain needs, how wise wives look the other way. I think she knew. Harper's phone rang. Marcus, Garrett's brother. She answered. Harper, I heard about the baby. I'm so sorry. But I need to tell you something. Mom knows about Sienna, has for months. I just found out. There's more. Mom introduced them. Sienna's father is Mom's financial advisor, worth $40 million. Mom thought Sienna was more appropriate for Garrett's station. Harper, Mom's been hoping you two would divorce. The class war, the thing Harper had always felt but never acknowledged. She came from public school teachers, state college, middle class, worked her way through everything, met Garrett before his company took off, loved him when he was coding in a garage, before the money, before the mansion, before he became someone who thought his wife wasn't good enough. Ruth had never accepted Harper, never forgiven Garrett for not marrying one of the debutantes she'd selected. Every family dinner was a reminder, every conversation a subtle dig. And what do you do, Harper? After 6 years, still asking, as if Harper's marketing career was adorable, temporary, irrelevant. When Garrett marries. Not is married, never acknowledging Harper's permanence, always speaking of her in temporary terms. A placeholder, a mistake to be corrected. Garrett's children. Not your children, not our grandchildren, always possessive of Garrett, always excluding Harper from the family narrative. Harper had made excuses then too. She's traditional, she's set in her ways. She'll come around when the baby comes. But Ruth didn't want to come around. Ruth wanted Harper gone, and she'd found the perfect replacement. Sienna, wealthy, connected, appropriate. Marcus was still talking. I'm sorry, Harper. I know I'm not close with the family, but I couldn't let this stand. You deserve to know. Thank you for telling me. What are you going to do? Harper looked around the nursery, at the packed boxes, at the life that would never happen. I don't know yet, but that was a lie, she knew. She'd known since reading those messages, since seeing the credit card statements, since understanding the scope of the conspiracy. Everyone knew, everyone except her. They'd all watched her glow, waddle, nest, plan, dream, all while knowing her husband was planning a different future, all while knowing she was being betrayed. They'd let her walk into that hospital and lose her daughter while still believing in a marriage that everyone else knew was dead. Harper sat in the bathtub that night, fully clothed, ran the water, let it go cold, didn't move, didn't notice. The rage was building, slow, deep, foundational, the kind of anger that doesn't explode, the kind that calcifies into something permanent, something that changes you at a molecular level, All those months. Everyone knew but her. They watched. They whispered. They pitied her. They judged her. The stupid wife. The last to know. The fool. They made her the fool. But she was done being fooled. Harper got out of the tub, dripping, shaking. She picked up her phone. Time to stop being the victim. Olivia recommended Bradley Matthews. Best divorce attorney in the state. Quiet, brutal, brutal, makes millionaires crazy. You want him. Harper called first thing Monday morning. The receptionist said Mr. Matthews was booked for weeks. Harper said 2 words. Garrett Whitfield. She had an appointment that afternoon. Bradley Matthews' office was downtown. Understated, expensive. The waiting room had leather chairs and fresh flowers. No other clients. Privacy mattered here. The receptionist led Harper back. Bradley stood when she entered. Mid-40s, kind eyes, solid handshake. Mrs. Whitfield, please sit. Can I get you water? Coffee? Water, thank you. He poured from a glass pitcher, handed it to her, sat across from her, not behind his desk, beside her, equal footing. Tell me what happened. All of it. Don't edit for my benefit. I need to know everything. So Harper told him, starting with the car breaking down, the walk, the hospital, finding the messages, the credit card statements, the conspiracy, Marcus's phone call, Claire's confession, every detail, every betrayal, every lie. Bradley took notes. His face remained professionally neutral, calm, steady, until she got to June 8th, to Garrett driving past her. His pen stopped moving. He drove past you while you were in labor, visibly pregnant, 7 months along, waving for help. Yes. And then lied to hospital staff about his whereabouts. Yes. Bradley closed his notebook, set down his pen, took off his glasses, rubbed his eyes, put the glasses back on. Looked at Harper with something that might have been anger, might have been disgust, might have been both. Harper, I've practiced family law for 20 years. I've seen terrible things. Abuse, neglect, cruelty. But this. He paused, chose his words carefully. This is one of the cruelest cases I've encountered. Not just the affair. That's common. Expected almost. But the premeditation, the conspiracy, the abandonment during a medical emergency resulting in a death. This goes beyond typical divorce territory. Can we prove it? Can we prove adultery? Absolutely. You have messages, transaction records, witness testimony. That's easy. What about the rest? The abandonment. Bradley opened his laptop, started typing. Let's see what we have. You called him at 2:07 p.m. Phone records will show that. You texted at 2:12. Records show that too. He was on Riverside Road at 2:18. We can subpoena traffic camera footage. The Mercedes is registered to him. We can place him at the scene. Medical records show you arrived at the hospital at 4:32 in premature labor. Severe dehydration. Fetal death, he kept typing. Building a timeline. Making it real. Making it legal. Making it something a court could see and judge and rule on. Here's what we can prove. Garrett received emergency calls from his pregnant wife. He was in the vicinity. He saw her. His own text message admits that. She saw us. I saw her face in the mirror. He chose not to stop, chose not to help. That choice resulted in continued physical duress, which resulted in premature labor, which resulted in fetal death. Is that a crime? It's complicated. Criminal negligence requires proving he had a duty to act, that his failure to act directly caused death. That's hard to prove. A good defense attorney would argue Harper could have called 911, could have called someone else, that his failure to respond wasn't the proximate cause of death. Harper felt hope deflating. So he gets away with it. I didn't say that. I said criminal charges are difficult. Civil divorce is different. In divorce, we're not trying to put him in jail. We're trying to divide assets fairly. And fault matters. Adultery matters. Abandonment matters. Cruelty matters. We're going to bury him in court. What can I get? Normally, 50-50 split. California is a community property state. but with fault, with evidence of adultery and abandonment and squandering marital assets on an affair partner. I can get you 65, maybe 70% of everything. How much is everything? Bradley pulled up another screen. I had my investigator do a preliminary asset search. Your husband's company is valued at approximately $8 million. He owns 51%. That's 4.1 million. The house is worth 2.8 million. Retirement accounts, about 1.2 million. Investment accounts, another 2 million. Rough total, $10 million. Harper's hands were shaking. I never knew. He always said we were comfortable. That the company was doing an okay, I didn't know we had $10 million. Most spouses in your position don't. Wealthy men control the finances, control the information, keep their wives in the dark, makes them easier to discard when they want to trade up. What are my options? Bradley leaned forward. Two strategies, private or public. Private means I contact his attorney. We negotiate quietly. You get a generous settlement. You sign an ND. You take the money and disappear, over in 6 months. No one outside your immediate circle ever knows the details. You get to rebuild privately. In public? Public means we file for divorce citing adultery and abandonment. We include all the evidence as exhibits. Make it part of the public record. File it in superior court. Those records are accessible to anyone. Press, public, everyone. The story will get out. The media will cover it. Millionaire abandons pregnant wife. She loses baby. He was with Mistress. It's going to be everywhere. What happens to him? His reputation is destroyed. His business likely suffers. Investors don't like scandal. Clients don't want to be associated with someone that cruel. He'll lose money, lose standing, lose respect. But Harper, you'll lose privacy. You'll be questioned, deposed, cross-examined. His lawyers will try to destroy your credibility. Say you're lying, crazy, vindictive. It will be brutal. Which one do you recommend? That depends. What do you want? Money or justice? Harper thought about it, about the baby who never breathed, about Garrett's hand on Sienna's thigh, about the ring, about Ruth's smirk, about Claire's silence, about everyone who knew and said nothing. I don't want his money. I want him to feel what I felt. Bradley was quiet for a moment. Then he said gently, Harper, I understand, truly, but revenge rarely brings the satisfaction we imagine. And the court system isn't designed for emotional justice. It's designed for asset division. Numbers on spreadsheets. Fair versus unfair in financial terms, not moral terms. You think I should take the private settlement. I think you should consider what you want your life to look like in 5 years. Do you want to be the woman who stood up, who fought publicly, who made a statement? Or do you want to be the woman who took the money and built something new? Neither choice is wrong, but they lead to very different futures. Harper stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city. Somewhere down there, Garrett was in his office, probably texting Sienna, probably planning their future, probably thinking he'd gotten away with it, thinking Harper would be quiet, graceful, compliant, like she'd always been, like women are supposed to be. Take the settlement, sign the papers, disappear quietly, don't make waves, don't be difficult, don't be a bitch. The system is designed to silence women, pay them off, make the problem go away. Harper had been silenced her whole marriage, told her feelings were dramatic, her concerns were paranoid, her reality was wrong, not anymore. File for divorce, public, I want everyone to know what he did. Bradley nodded slowly. Then that's what we'll do. I'll draw up the papers. Everything goes in, messages, transactions, medical records, timeline, witness statements. I'll make it comprehensive, undeniable. A judge will read it and know exactly what happened. How long? I can have papers ready in 72 hours. Service takes another day. So, 4 days until he knows you're serious. Where will you serve him? Wherever you want. Harper smiled, first time since losing the baby. His office? During the monthly board meeting. Serve him in front of his investors. Bradley raised his eyebrows. That's aggressive? Are you sure? He drove past me while I was dying, while his daughter was dying, in front of no one. I want him served in front of everyone. Then that's what we'll do. 48 hours before service, Garrett came to the house. First time since the hospital. He still had a key, let himself in, called her name. Harper, you here? We need to talk. Harper was in the kitchen, making coffee, the domesticity of it, as if nothing had happened, as if their daughter wasn't dead, as if their marriage wasn't over. Garrett walked in. He looked tired, thinner, or maybe Harper was just seeing him clearly for the first time. Harper, we need to talk about us, about moving forward, about healing. There's nothing to heal, Garrett. Don't say that. We lost our daughter. That's devastating. But couples survive this. We can survive this together if we're strong enough. Harper recognized his strategy now. Use the miscarriage as a reset button. Play the grieving father, the supportive husband. Wait 6 months. Then leave her. Make it look like they couldn't recover from the loss. Clean, blameless. Him as the tragic figure. There's nothing to heal, Harper repeated, because you have to care about something to grieve it. And you didn't care about her. How can you say that? She was my daughter too. You lost your daughter when you drove past me on Riverside Road. Watch him recalibrate. Watch the gears turn. Deny. Gaslight. Which play works here? Harper, you were in shock, traumatized. Your mind created memories that aren't accurate. It's documented. Trauma does that. I found your iPad. The air in the kitchen changed, went cold. Garrett's face went carefully blank. What iPad? The one in the nursery, with all your messages to Sienna. You went through my private messages? That's a violation of privacy. You went through our baby's college fund to buy your mistress an engagement ring. I think I'm entitled to some privacy invasion. Garrett's mask dropped. The concerned husband disappeared. Something colder took its place. You had no right. Oh, those messages are private, between two consenting adults, one of whom was married to me while I carried your child, a child I didn't want. There it was, the truth. Finally, no more pretending, no more gaslighting, just honesty, cruel and sharp and real. You knew I wasn't ready, but you forgot your birth control, trapped me, got pregnant right when my company was taking off. Convenient timing, Harper. I didn't trap you. Birth control fails. It happens. Does it? Or did you poke holes in condoms, forget pills on purpose? Women do that, trap men with babies. It's common. Harper felt detached, watching this from outside her body. He was rewriting history, making her the villain. She'd heard of this, read about it. Narcissists do this. When caught, they flip the script, make themselves the victim. You want the truth? Fine, I hoped you'd miscarry. I prayed for it. Every doctor's appointment, every ultrasound, I hoped they'd say no heartbeat, because a baby would tie me to you forever, and I couldn't stand the thought of that. You got your wish. She's dead. Don't put that on me. You're the one who went hiking in ridiculous heat. I was walking home from a broken-down car because my husband refused to pick me up. Harper's voice echoed through the house. First time she'd yelled in their entire marriage. First time she'd raised her voice. Broken the rules. Been difficult. Been a bitch. Garrett actually stepped back, startled, as if he'd forgotten she had a voice. Could fight back. Could be anything other than compliant. I called you 12 times. You sent me to voicemail. I texted you our location. You ignored it. I waved at you on that road, and you looked me in the eyes, looked at your 7 months pregnant wife in obvious distress, and you drove away. With her. I didn't see you. Yes, you did. Your message to Sienna, 3:15 p.m. She saw us. I saw her face in the mirror. You knew, you chose. You let me walk 10 miles in labor because stopping would have ruined your afternoon with your mistress. Garrett's face changed again. The denial was gone. Just cold calculation now. Legal mind engaging, damage control mode. What do you want, Harper? Money? Fine. I'll give you $2 million. Sign an NDA, disappear. Start over somewhere else. We both move on. I don't want your money, and everyone wants money. That's what divorce is, gold-digging wives taking half of what men build. I want you to lose everything. Your company, your reputation, your mother's approval, your perfect little future with Sienna. I want you to feel what I felt. Garrett laughed, actually laughed. You think you can hurt me? You're nobody, Harper, a marketing girl who peaked at middle management. I made you. This house, your lifestyle, your social standing. I gave you everything, and you think you can take me down? Harper recognized this conversation. Every woman who's ever left a narcissist has had this conversation, where he tells her she's nothing, that he created her, that she'll never survive without him. I have evidence, Garrett, every message, every transaction, every lie, time-stamped, cross-referenced, including you admitting you hoped I'd miscarry, including you admitting you saw me and chose to leave me. Watch him process. Legal brain working. Those messages are inadmissible, illegally obtained from a password-protected device, from a shared device, in a shared home. No password required. Perfectly admissible. Bradley already confirmed. Bradley? My divorce attorney. You'll meet him in 2 days at your board meeting, when you're served papers in front of your investors. Garrett's face went white. The board, the investors, the merger worth $40 million. If they see divorce papers citing adultery, abandonment, negligence causing death, you wouldn't. I would. I am. In 48 hours, everyone will know what you did. Do this and I'll destroy you. My mother knows judges, prosecutors. I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. I'll tell everyone you're unstable, that you falsified evidence, that you're having a breakdown from the miscarriage. No one will believe you. Harper smiled, small, sad, real. Try it, because I have something you don't have anymore. What's that? The truth, and nothing you say can change what actually happened. Garrett left, slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. Glass shattered, their wedding photo, both of them young, hopeful, stupid. After he was gone, Harper collapsed. Not gracefully, just broke. Fell to the kitchen floor, tile cold against her cheek. Glass from the picture frame inches away. She sobbed, the kind of crying that hurts. That sounds animal. That's ugly and raw and real. The kind women only do alone, because standing up to him didn't feel powerful. It felt terrifying. She just declared war on a millionaire with connections. She was unemployed, grieving, alone. What if he did destroy her? What if no one believed her? What if the truth wasn't enough? Harper stayed on that floor for an hour, then 2. The house darkened around her. She didn't turn on lights, just lay there, feeling the cold tile, smelling dust, hearing the refrigerator hum, the house settle, her own breathing, grounding herself in physical reality, because her mental reality was chaos. At 3 in the morning, Harper got up, opened a bottle of wine Garrett had been saving for a special occasion, drank it from the bottle, ate ice cream from the container, ugly cried, laughed hysterically, cried again. Women know this night, the night before everything changes, the night you spend alone with your fear, making peace with your choice, hoping you're strong enough for what comes next. Morning came. Olivia showed up with coffee and breakfast sandwiches. Took one look at the wine bottle, the ice cream, the tissues everywhere, the shattered wedding photo still on the floor. Bad night? I told him I'm ruining him. And I'm terrified. Olivia sat beside her on the floor, shoulder to shoulder. Sisters. Good. If you weren't scared, I'd worry. You're about to fight someone with money and power and connections. You should be scared, but scared doesn't mean wrong. What if no one believes me? What if they take his side? Rich men always have defenders. Some people will, but Harper, the truth doesn't need belief. It just is. And you have proof of what is. Harper leaned her head on Olivia's shoulder. I don't know who I am anymore. The old Harper would never do this, would never make waves, would never be difficult. The old Harper didn't know her husband hoped her baby would die. You're not different. You just finally see clearly. The next day, the papers would be served. Garrett would learn that Harper wasn't bluffing, and nothing would ever be the same. Harper wasn't at the board meeting, didn't need to be, but Marcus texted her updates in real time, 10:47 a.m. Full room, 12 board members, 6 major investors, all the C-suite executives. Garrett's presenting the merger terms, looks confident. 10:52 a.m. Process server just walked in. Security tried to stop him. He said he has legal documents for Garrett Whitfield. This is happening. Harper sat in her loft, coffee going cold on the table, phone in her hand, heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. 10:53 a.m. Garrett looks confused. Open the envelope. Reading, he just went completely white, like all the blood drained from his face. Board members asking what's wrong. He's not speaking, just staring at the papers. The papers included everything, 47 pages, every message screenshot, every credit card transaction with date and amount. Complete timeline of the affair. Medical records from June 8th showing time of emergency call, time of arrival, cause of fetal death. Dr. Chase's statement, traffic camera footage showing the Mercedes on Riverside Road at 2:18 p.m. Character statements from Claire, Marcus, Olivia. Request for 70% of assets citing abandonment, adultery, and squandering of marital funds. 10:55 a.m. Chair of the board took the papers, reading them, passing them around the table. Garrett's trying to explain. Someone just asked if this is true. Garrett said it's personal, not business. CFO said abandoning pregnant wife during medical emergency is absolutely a character issue. Board cares about character. Investors care about character. 10:58 a.m. Meeting suspended. Garrett just left. Didn't even take his briefcase. Investors staying to discuss the situation. Harper, this is bad for him. Really, really bad. Harper set down her phone, breathed. It was done. She'd done it. Garrett now knew she was serious. The board knew. The investors knew. And if she knew anything about investors, they were already calculating risk. The merger Garrett had been working toward for 2 years required board approval. The board represented investor interests. Those investors included pension funds, insurance companies, university endowments, institutional money, conservative money, money that cared about reputation and liability and public relations. They didn't invest in men who abandoned pregnant wives during medical emergencies. Bad press, legal risk, PR nightmare. The merger worth $40 million just became very uncertain. At 3 p.m., Ruth called. Harper almost didn't answer, but she needed to hear this, needed to know what Garrett's mother would say now that the truth was public. What have you done? I filed for divorce. At his board meeting? Do you have any idea what you've jeopardized? That merger is worth $40 million. $40 million, and you just destroyed it with your vindictive little stunt. I know what it's worth. I also know what my daughter's life was worth, apparently more than his afternoon shopping trip with Sienna. You're being childish. Garrett made mistakes, yes, but all men make mistakes. Mature women understand that. They don't blow up their husbands' careers over indiscretions. He let me lose our baby. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Ruth's voice went cold, dangerous. If you don't drop this, I will make sure you regret it. I know people, Harper, judges, lawyers, business owners. You'll never work in this town again. Never own property. Never get credit. I can make you invisible. Harper had heard this threat before. From Garrett, from men in her life, from the world. Be quiet or we'll destroy you. Be compliant or we'll make you disappear. Do it, because the story I have to tell will make every news outlet in the country cover it. Millionaire drove past pregnant wife. During emergency, mother defended him. How does that headline sound for your social standing, Ruth? For your charity boards? For your country club? Ruth hung up. By 5 p.m., the story was online. Someone had leaked the filing. Maybe someone on the board. Maybe a court clerk. Maybe an investor's lawyer. Didn't matter. Public records are public. The headlines started appearing. Tech CEO served divorce papers at board meeting. Wife claims millionaire abandoned her during pregnancy emergency. Pregnant woman walked 10 miles while husband drove past with mistress. The story had everything: wealth, betrayal, a dead baby, the other woman, cruel abandonment, and evidence. Screenshots included in the public filing. Anyone could download it, read it, share it. It went viral. Within hours, hashtag Justice for Harper was trending. Reddit threads analyzing the evidence. TikTok lawyers reviewing the filing. This is prosecutable negligence. Twitter finding and harassing Sienna until she deleted all her social media. Facebook mom groups sharing with righteous fury. Instagram influencers weighing in. The detail that captured everyone was the walk. 10 miles, 7 months pregnant, June heat, having contractions. Husband drove past. Everyone could imagine it. The desperation, the betrayal, the physical pain, the baby dying inside her while she walked, while he shopped for rings. Women started sharing their own stories in the comments. My ex did something similar when I was in labor. When I was pregnant, my husband chose his mother over me during an emergency. I lost my baby, and my partner said we could just try again. Harper's phone exploded with messages from strangers, from old friends, from women she'd never met, support, rage on her behalf, offers of help, some criticism. Why air dirty laundry in public? Why not handle it privately? But mostly solidarity, mostly understanding. Mostly other women who'd been betrayed and dismissed and told to be quiet. Dr. Chase texted, "Harper, I've been contacted by several news outlets. Do I have your permission to speak about the medical facts, about what you endured, what it caused?" Harper, "Yes, tell them everything." Claire texted, "I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. If you need me to do interviews, make statements, testify, anything, I will. I owe you that much." Harper, "Thank you. I'll let Bradley know." Marcus texted, "The board just suspended Garrett pending investigation. The merger is officially on hold. His reputation is destroyed. Mom is having a complete breakdown. You did it. You actually did it." Harper read the messages alone in her loft, the small space she'd moved to after selling the house, the life she was building from scratch. She didn't feel victorious, just tired. The kind of tired sleep doesn't fix. She realized something women always realize too late. Winning doesn't feel like winning when you've lost so much to get there. Garrett's PR team issued a statement that evening. The allegations in the divorce filing are exaggerated and taken out of context. My wife is understandably grieving our tragic loss, and her perception of events has been affected by trauma and emotional distress. I deeply regret that our private marital difficulties have become public. I ask for privacy as we navigate this difficult time. My focus remains on my company and the important work we do. The statement said everything by saying nothing, called the allegations exaggerated. Translation, she's lying, blamed her trauma. Translation, she's unstable, asked for privacy. Translation, please stop looking at what I did. But notice what he didn't say. Didn't deny the affair, didn't deny driving past her, didn't deny the messages, didn't deny hoping she'd miscarry, just said her perception was affected by trauma. The internet noticed immediately. He doesn't deny any of it, just says she's exaggerating her trauma. Classic Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. He's literally gaslighting her in a press release. Notice he focuses on his company, not on his dead daughter, tells you everything. The district attorney's office called Bradley the next day. "We've reviewed the filing, the messages, the timeline, the medical records. We're considering criminal negligence charges, abandonment during a medical emergency resulting in death. It's unusual, difficult to prove, but the evidence is compelling. Does your client want to pursue this?" Bradley called Harper, explained the situation. "They want to file criminal charges. It's maybe 40% chance of conviction. Hard to prove criminal intent, that his actions directly caused the death. But the trial alone would destroy him further. Make him a pariah. Is that what you want?" Harper thought about it. A trial meant years of legal battle, depositions, cross-examination. Her daughter's death dissected in public. Medical experts debating whether the walk caused the miscarriage or whether it would have happened anyway. Defense attorneys attacking her character, suggesting she's lying, exaggerating, making it up for money. Tell them I appreciate their interest. But no, the divorce is enough. I don't want to spend the next 3 years in courtrooms. I want to move on with my life. You're sure this is your chance for real justice, real consequences? I've already gotten justice. His reputation is ruined. His merger is suspended. His mother is humiliated. His mistress is being harassed. He's lost his standing, his respect, his future. I won, but winning doesn't bring my daughter back, and more fighting won't heal me. That night, Harper went to the empty nursery one last time before the movers came. She'd sold the house, couldn't live there anymore. Too many ghosts, too many memories of futures that would never happen. She sat in the rocking chair, the one her grandmother had given them. Solid oak, generations old. She rocked slowly, forward, back, and she talked to her daughter, the one who never breathed, the one who existed only in her heart and in her grief. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry your father didn't want you. I'm sorry I didn't leave sooner. I'm sorry for everything. She cried, not the angry tears of confrontation, not the powerful tears of revenge, the deep, grief-stricken tears of loss for the baby, for the marriage, for the life she'd imagined, for the mother she'd never get to be. Olivia found her there at midnight, didn't speak, just sat beside her, held her hand. Sometimes that's all women need, witness to their pain, company in their grief. People keep congratulating me, Harper whispered, like I won something, but I lost everything. My baby, my marriage, my belief in people. And I'm supposed to feel victorious because he lost money? You lost things that mattered. He lost things that can be rebuilt. That's not the same as justice, but it's something. Harper leaned against her sister. I thought justice would feel better. Justice usually doesn't feel like anything. It just is. You told the truth. People believed you. He faced consequences. That's all justice ever is. It doesn't heal. It doesn't bring back what you lost. It just balances the scales a little bit. But Harper's story wasn't over. Life has a way of surprising us when we stop looking for surprises. 3 months later, Garrett wanted to settle. His lawyers called Bradley with an offer. The bad press continued. The merger had officially failed. Investors pulled out. His company stock dropped 35%. He was hemorrhaging money and reputation. He wanted it over. The settlement offer was generous. Harper would get the house, worth $2.8 million. $4 million in cash. His retirement accounts totaling $1.2 million. Total package, $8 million. 62% of the marital assets. He'd admit to adultery in the divorce decree. They'd both sign non-disclosure agreements. Neither party would discuss the marriage publicly going forward. Bradley presented it to Harper in his office. It's an excellent offer. More than you'd get at trial. Better than I expected, honestly. He's desperate to end this. His lawyers know the evidence is damning. They want it sealed. Over. Forgotten. What about Sienna? Is she still with him? Bradley checked his notes. According to our investigator, no. She broke up with him 2 weeks after the story broke. Apparently being the other woman wasn't worth the death threats and public shaming. She's already engaged to someone else, one of Garrett's former investors, actually. Small victory. Hollow victory. Sienna got out unscathed. Found another rich man, another future. While Harper's daughter was still dead. The NDA bothers me, Harper said. I can never talk about this. Never tell my story. Never warn other women. The filing is public record. The news has already covered it extensively. Everyone who wants to know the story knows it. The NDA just prevents you from doing interviews, writing a book, profiting from it. But Harper, do you want to be defined by this? The wronged wife? The tragedy? Or do you want to take the money, start over, and build something new? Harper thought about women she'd known who became defined by their victimhood, who told their stories so many times it became their identity, who built careers on their trauma. Some needed that. Some found healing in advocacy, found purpose in preventing others' pain. But Harper wanted to be more than what Garrett did to her, wanted to be more than the woman whose husband let her baby die. I'll take the settlement. The signing was 2 weeks later, both parties present, required by California law. Harper hadn't seen Garrett in 3 months. He looked different, thinner, gray hair at his temples, lines around his eyes. The public destruction had aged him, made him look older than 35, made him look like what he was, a man who'd lost everything that mattered by choosing the wrong things. He didn't look at Harper, signed pages mechanically. His lawyer reviewed each section. Harper did the same with Bradley beside her. One paper left, the final decree. Once signed, they'd be divorced. Officially, legally, permanently. Garrett picked up his pen, paused, set it down, looked at Harper for the first time. Harper, I'm sorry, for all of it, you deserve better. Was it genuine? Did it matter? Harper looked at him. This man she'd loved, who she'd built a life with, who killed their daughter through neglect and cruelty and selfishness. Yes, I did. She signed the paper, he signed. Their lawyers signed. The notary stamped it. Done. They were divorced. Walking out, Bradley handed Harper a check. $4 million, plus the house deed transfer papers, plus retirement account information. You're a wealthy woman now. What will you do? Harper looked at the check. Life-changing money. Freedom, security, everything most people dream of having. Money bought with her daughter's death, with her public humiliation, with her shattered dreams. I don't know yet. Olivia took Harper to their favorite restaurant, the one they'd gone to in college. Before Garrett, before wealth, before tragedy, small, loud, good food, real people. You did it. You're free. I don't feel free. I feel untethered. That's the same thing. Was it? Harper wasn't sure. Freedom implied choice, movement, possibility. Untethered felt like floating, drifting. No anchor, no direction. Just existing in space with nothing holding you to anything. That night, Harper sat in her loft, the small space she'd moved to after selling the house. Minimalist, modern, nothing like the suburban palace. She walked through the single room, kitchen area, living area, sleeping area, bathroom. Everything she needed and nothing she didn't. But it felt temporary, like a waiting room, a place between lives. Not home, not yet, maybe never. Decision time. What did she want her life to look like? She couldn't live here forever. Could buy something bigger with the settlement money. Or move to a new city. Start completely fresh. New place. New people. New Harper. Career. She hadn't worked in 10 months. Since the pregnancy. But she was 30 years old. Experienced. Talented. She could rebuild her marketing career. Or do something different. The money gave her options. She could go back to school, start a business, travel, anything. But first, the nursery items, still in storage. She'd packed them months ago, donated most of it to a women's shelter, pregnant women fleeing abuse, women who needed baby supplies, who needed hope. Harper had kept one thing, a photo from the 20-week ultrasound. Her daughter, grayscale, fuzzy, perfect. The only picture that would ever exist. She looked at it now, taped to her bathroom mirror, her daughter who never was, who never breathed or cried or opened her eyes, who existed only in Harper's body for 28 weeks, only in Harper's heart forever. Harper named her finally, something she couldn't do before, couldn't bear. Naming made it real, made the loss concrete, made grief solid and unavoidable. Grace, her daughter's name was Grace. Claire visited a week after the settlement finalized. Their friendship was strained, damaged, maybe permanently, maybe not. Time would tell. How are you? Shugden alone, living in the dream. Claire sat, didn't speak immediately. Then, I know I failed you. I thought I was protecting you by staying quiet, but I was protecting him. I was a coward, and I'm sorry doesn't begin to cover it. No, it doesn't. I understand if you can't forgive me. Maybe you never will, but I need you to know I've changed. I see it now, how the system protects men like Garrett, how women are told to be quiet and understanding, how we're complicit in our own oppression. You taught me that. by refusing to be quiet. Harper was quiet, processing. Claire waited, gave her space, didn't rush, didn't push. Finally, Harper said, I'm not ready to forgive you. Maybe someday, but right now I'm still angry. You knew for months, watched me plan for a baby while knowing her father wanted her dead. That's not something I can just get over. I know, I just needed to say it. And Harper, thank you for finally making me see, for being brave enough to fight, even if it cost our friendship. It did cost our friendship, but maybe that's okay. Maybe some friendships aren't meant to survive truth. After Claire left, Harper sat alone in her loft, said out loud to the empty room, to Grace's photo on the mirror, to herself. I don't have to forgive everyone who apologizes. I don't have to be graceful about betrayal. I'm allowed to be hurt and angry and not ready to move on. That's okay. That's enough. She was learning, slowly, that healing isn't linear, that justice doesn't equal happiness, that winning doesn't mean you're whole. But she was surviving. That was something. That was everything. 6 months after the divorce finalized, Harper's life had developed rhythm. Not happiness, exactly. Not yet, but routine, structure, small purposes that added up to a life. She'd started freelancing again, marketing consulting, working from home, her terms, her schedule, her clients. The settlement money meant she could be choosy, only take projects she believed in, only work with people she respected. Money wasn't an issue, would never be an issue again. $4 million properly invested generated enough passive income that Harper could live comfortably without working. But she needed to work, needed purpose, needed to feel useful. She started therapy. Finally, Dr. Chase had recommended someone, Dr. Reese, a woman who specialized in pregnancy loss and complex grief. Their first session, Dr. Reese asked, "Tell me about your daughter." "I don't talk about her." "Why not?" "Because she wasn't real. She never breathed, never opened her eyes. 7 months in my body, but she never existed outside it. People don't know how to mourn babies who never lived." "Did you mourn her?" "I don't know how." Over weeks, then months, Harper learned, not to forget, not to get over it, just to carry it differently, to make space for grief without letting it consume everything. She named her daughter, told Dr. Reese her name, Grace, said it out loud, made her real through language, through acknowledgement, through refusing to pretend she never existed. Harper bought a small silver bracelet, had it engraved, Grace, forever loved, never forgotten, wore it every day. When people asked about it, she said simply, "My daughter, not my baby I lost, not the pregnancy that didn't work out. My daughter, named, acknowledged, real." This is how women reclaim their stories, by refusing to minimize, by naming what was lost, by insisting their pain matters even when the world says it doesn't. Duraries recommended a support group, pregnancy loss. Harper resisted, didn't want to sit in a circle, didn't want to share, didn't want to cry in front of strangers. But she went, once, then twice, then it became part of her routine. 7 women, ages 25 to 52, different stories. Miscarriage at 8 weeks, stillborn at 38 weeks, termination for fatal diagnosis, ectopic pregnancy, second trimester loss, twin loss where one survived. Everyone's pain was valid, everyone's loss was real, no hierarchy of grief, no competition over who hurt more. Harper told her story, not the viral version, the personal version, the one without headlines or hashtags, just the truth of what happened and how it broke her. "My husband hoped I'd miscarry. The messages proved it. And when nature didn't cooperate fast enough, he made sure I was in a situation where it might happen. And it did. So I lost my daughter and learned that the man I loved wished her dead." Silence. Then Jessica, 42, stillbirth, said quietly, "My husband said at least you can try again 2 hours after our son was born dead. Then asked when I'd be ready for sex." Alicia, 28, miscarriage, said, "My boyfriend told me I was being dramatic, that it wasn't really a baby, just cells, like I was grieving nothing." The validation of shared experience, the relief of being heard, the understanding that Harper's story was extreme but the pattern was universal. Women's pain dismissed, grief minimized, loss treated as inconvenient. One woman asked, "Harper, you have a platform. Your story reached millions. Have you thought about using it for advocacy?" Using it how? There's no support system for pregnancy loss, no mandated leave, no counseling resources, no acknowledgement. Women lose babies and go back to work 3 days later. You could change that. Harper considered it. She could advocate for bereavement leave for pregnancy loss, mandatory counseling resources, medical protocol improvements, legal protections, public education. But did she want to be the pregnancy loss lady? Make this her identity? Spend the next decade reliving her trauma to help others? Dr. Reese said gently, "You get to choose. Advocacy can be healing, or it can be re-traumatizing. Only you know which it would be for you." I don't want to be defined by what Garrett did. Then don't be. Define yourself by what you do next. Harper started small, wrote an essay, not about Garrett, about grace, about grief, about the silence around pregnancy loss, published it on a blog, personal, honest, raw. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of comments, women sharing their stories, the relief of being heard, the validation of pain acknowledged, the understanding that they weren't alone. Harper realized something. She didn't have to be an activist, didn't have to make this her career. She just had to be honest. And somehow that was more powerful. Olivia asked one day, "So are you dating?" "God, no. It's been almost a year. You're young, attractive, rich. You could." "I could, but I'm not ready. Maybe I'll never be ready. I trusted someone completely. Loved him with everything, and he hoped our daughter would die. That breaks something in you. I don't know if it can be fixed. Or maybe it broke you open, and you're rebuilding something stronger." Marcus texted one afternoon. They'd maintained an unlikely friendship, the black sheep and the ex-wife, both exiled from the Whitfield family. "Harper, I know we're not close, but I wanted to tell you something. Garrett's company went bankrupt. Merger fallout, investor lawsuits, lost contracts. He filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Mom had to bail him out with her retirement savings. He's 35 years old and living with his mother again." Harper read it twice, waiting to feel satisfaction, vindication, schadenfreude. Mostly she felt nothing. His downfall didn't undo her loss, didn't bring Grace back, didn't heal the wound. Marcus continued, "And Sienna? She married his biggest investor, the one who pulled out of the merger because of the scandal. She got engaged 3 months after leaving Garrett. Pretty sure that was her plan all along." The irony, Garrett lost everything for a woman who never loved him, who used him as a stepping stone to someone richer, someone more successful, someone whose reputation wasn't destroyed. The closure Harper needed wasn't revenge or his apology, just distance, time, the confirmation that she'd made the right choice leaving. June 8th, 1-year anniversary of Grace's death. Harper visited the cemetery. She'd bought a plot, small, quiet, under an oak tree, a small headstone, Grace Whitfield Morrison. Never born, forever loved. Harper sat beside it, cross-legged on the grass, talked to her daughter. "I'm okay now. Most days. Some days I'm not. But I'm surviving. I'm even starting to live again. I hope wherever you are, you know I loved you. I wanted you. And losing you broke me. But it also made me braver than I knew I could be." She planted flowers, purple irises, June birth flowers. They'd bloom every year. A reminder, a memorial, a way to mark time and loss and love. Harper stayed at the cemetery for hours, not crying, just existing, watching clouds, feeling grass, hearing birds, being beside her daughter's memory. This is healing, slow, imperfect, nonlinear, but real. Back at the loft, Harper looked around, at the life she was building. Small, simple, hers. She'd furnished it slowly, intentionally. Nothing from the old life. Everything chosen for this new version of herself. She wasn't the woman who married Garrett, not even the woman who divorced him. She was someone new, someone forged in grief and betrayal and survival. Someone stronger and sadder and more real. I'm not the woman who married Garrett. I'm not even the woman who divorced him. I'm someone new. And I think I like her. And then on a random Tuesday, everything changed again. 18 months after the divorce finalized, Harper's life had shape. Work, therapy, support group, friends, sister time, slow, intentional living. Not happiness, not yet, but contentment, peace, the quiet satisfaction of surviving something that should have destroyed you. She was in at the grocery store, organic section, reaching for avocados, thinking about nothing in particular. Harper? She turned. A man, vaguely familiar, tall, kind eyes, glasses, button-down shirt, jeans, normal, unremarkable, safe. Ben? Ben Richardson? Memory flooding back. College friend, engineering major. They'd worked on a group project junior year. Statistics. She'd handled the presentation, he'd done the calculations. They'd gotten an A, lost touch after graduation, different cities, different lives. It's been what, 10 years? Almost. Wow, how are you? They caught up, surface level. He was a civil engineer now, designed bridges, interesting work, never married, no kids, lived downtown, liked the city, liked his liked his life. Are you still in marketing? Freelance consulting now, more flexibility. He didn't mention the viral divorce. Either he didn't know, which seemed unlikely, or he was too polite to bring it up. Harper appreciated that, being seen as a person instead of a headline. We should get coffee sometime. Catch up properly. Harper hesitated. Coffee could mean coffee, or coffee could mean date. She wasn't ready for dates, wasn't sure she'd ever be ready for dates. But coffee, just coffee, between old friends. Sure, that would be nice. They exchanged numbers. He texted that evening. Great running into you. How's Thursday at 3? There's a good place on 5th Street. Harper agreed, tried not to overthink it. Just coffee, just conversation, nothing more. Olivia called that night. You gave a man your number? It's not like that. He's an old friend from college. Uh-huh. What's he look like? I didn't notice. Liar. Describe him. Tall, glasses, kind face, normal looking. Translation, attractive, but you don't want to admit you noticed. Harper laughed. First time she'd laughed about a man in years. Thursday came. The cafe was neutral, public, busy, safe. Ben was already there. Waved when she walked in, stood up, pulled out her chair. Small gestures, polite gestures, the kind that used to be common. They talked for 2 hours about college, about work, about life. He asked questions, actually listened to answers. Shared his own stories. No red flags, no love bombing, no intensity, just normal conversation between two adults who'd once known each other and were getting reacquainted. He mentioned seeing her name in the news. I hope this isn't inappropriate, but I read about what happened. I'm sorry you went through that. Harper tensed. Here it comes, the pity, the questions, the morbid curiosity. Thank you. That was it. He didn't push, didn't ask for details, didn't make it weird, just acknowledged it and moved on. Treated her like a person instead of a tragedy. She appreciated that more than he could know. Coffee became lunch the next week. Lunch became dinner 2 weeks later. Dinner became walks. Walks became museum visits. Art galleries, bookstores, movies, slowly, carefully. Building something without naming it. Not dating, not exactly, just spending time together, learning each other, seeing if there was something there worth pursuing. 3 months before he even held her hand. And even that he asked permission for. Harper, I'd like to hold your hand. Is that okay? Consent, respect, consideration. Novel concepts after Garrett. Yes, that's okay. His hand was warm, solid, real, different from Garrett's, different from everything about Garrett. Where Garrett had been smooth and polished and performative, Ben was genuine, steady, present. Garrett had love-bombed her, flowers, grand gestures, intensity. She thought that was passion. Thought that was love. Now she understood it was manipulation, control, making her dependent on his attention, his approval, his presence. Ben was different, boring almost, predictably available. Called when he said he'd call, showed up when he said he'd show up, did what he said he'd do. Reliability, consistency, the things that actually matter in a relationship. 6 months in and Ben asked, "What are we doing here?" Harper considered, "I don't know. I like spending time with you, but I don't know if I can do a relationship. I'm still healing, still figuring out who I am after everything." "That's okay. We can just be whatever this is. No pressure, no timeline, no expectations. The permission to go slow, to be undefined, to heal while connecting. Revolutionary. 7 months in, they finally kissed. He asked first, "Can I kiss you?" Harper laughing, "You don't have to ask." "I do, though. I need you to know you're in control, always. That nothing happens unless you want it to happen. That you're safe with me." That's when Harper realized she was falling in love. Not the desperate, consuming love she'd had with Garrett. Something quieter, steadier, safer. The kind of love built on respect and trust and genuine caring instead of intensity and control and manipulation. Eventually she told him about Grace, the full story, the walk, the messages, the betrayal, the loss, everything. He listened, didn't interrupt, didn't offer platitudes. When she finished, he said simply, "Thank you for trusting me with that." Not "I'm sorry," not "that's terrible." Just acknowledgement of her trust. Recognition that sharing pain is a gift, that vulnerability is strength. 1 year after their first coffee, Ben took Harper to dinner. Nice restaurant, but not extravagant. After dinner, he said, "I have something to tell you." Harper's stomach dropped. Here it comes. He's married. He's moving. He's changed his mind. He's realized she's too damaged, too broken, too much. "I love you. And I know you might not be ready to hear that, or say it back, and that's okay. I'm not expecting anything. But I needed you to know." Harper felt tears starting. "I love you too. I didn't think I could. After everything. After Garrett. But I do." They kissed. Not their first kiss, but the first as acknowledged partners, as a couple, as people building something together intentionally. Months later, late at night, Harper asked, "Do you want kids?" Ben was quiet, then, "Eventually, yes, but I want you more. If kids aren't something you can do again, I understand. You're enough. We're enough. Whatever we build together is enough." Harper cried, because Garrett made her feel like an obligation, a burden, an obstacle to the life he wanted. But Ben made her feel chosen, enough, wanted for herself instead of for what she could provide. 2 years after meeting Ben, Harper found out she was pregnant. Terror, absolute terror. She told him immediately. Expecting what? Pressure? Excitement? Expectation? "We'll figure it out together, whatever you decide. If you want to continue the pregnancy, I'm here. If you don't, I'm here. This is your body, your choice. I support you completely." Harper met with Dr. Chase, told her about the pregnancy, about Ben, about her fear. "I didn't think I could do this again. But Ben isn't Garrett, and I'm not the same woman I was. Maybe this time could be different. Only you know if you're ready. But Harper, you're one of the strongest people I've met. You'll make the right choice for you." Harper continued the pregnancy. High risk due to previous loss, frequent monitoring, bed rest toward the end. Ben took family leave, moved into her apartment, slept on the couch so Harper could have the bed, brought her food, rubbed her feet, read to her, never complained, never made her feel guilty, never resented the inconvenience. Marcus visited during the pregnancy. "This guy's the real deal, Harper." "I know. Nothing like Garrett. Thank God." The birth was at 38 weeks. Healthy delivery, no complications. A son, crying, pink Olier. Perfect. Harper held him and sobbed. "He's okay. He's really okay." Dr. Chase smiling, tears in her own eyes. "He's perfect." Ben cut the cord, tears streaming down his face. "We have a son, Harper. We have a son." They named him Theodore. Theo, gift from God. Middle name Grant, for Grace. Her daughter never forgotten. Her son carrying her memory forward. That night, Harper held Theo while Ben slept in the hospital chair. She looked at her living child, the product of healthy love, patient timing, mutual respect, genuine partnership. She whispered to him, and to Grace, wherever she was. Grace, I hope you know your little brother. I hope you're watching over him. This baby doesn't replace you. Nothing ever will. But he's proof that I survived, that I healed, that life continues. Thank you for making me strong enough to get here. 3 years later, Harper and Ben's apartment was full of life. Theo was 3, running, talking, laughing, barfed hormone in tiny human form. Harper was pregnant again, a girl this time, 4 months along. They'd name her Rose. Ben cooked dinner while Theo played with blocks. Harper worked at her laptop. Her freelance business had grown. 2 employees now, specializing in supporting women-owned businesses. Using her experience, her platform, her voice for good, she still attended the support group monthly. Not as a wounded participant anymore. As someone who'd made it through, living proof that life continues after loss. That joy is possible after devastation. That love exists after betrayal. Olivia visited, newly pregnant herself. You manifested this, you know. After Garrett, you chose different. And you got different. I chose myself first. Everything else followed. That night, Harper put Theo to bed, read him The Very Hungry Caterpillar, his current favorite. He asked, as he did every night, Mommy, tell me about Grace. Harper had been honest with him, age-appropriate but honest, never hiding, never pretending. Grace is your sister in heaven. She watches over you. She loves you very much. Does she know about the baby? About Rose? Yes, sweetheart, she knows everything. Good. I want her to meet Rose. Harper kissed his forehead, closed the door softly, returned to the living room where Ben had cleaned up dinner and poured wine for himself and sparkling cider for her. They sat together on the couch, his arm around her shoulders, her hand on her growing belly, their son sleeping peacefully in the next room, their daughter growing inside her, their life built from ashes and grief and determination. Happy? Ben asked. Harper considered. After everything, the betrayal, the loss, the pain, the public destruction, the slow rebuilding, the careful healing, the unexpected love. Yes, I'm happy, not the way I thought I'd be, but better. Real mine. Ben kissed her, soft, sweet, present. Harper Morrison learned what many women learn. The end of one story is just the beginning of another. The woman who walked 10 miles alone learned to build a life where she'd never have to walk alone again. And Grace, her daughter who never breathed, taught her the most important lesson. Some loves are too strong for death. And some women are too strong for anything. Harper's story didn't end with revenge. It ended with something better. It ended with her choosing herself, building a life on her own terms, finding love that respected her instead of destroying her, and honoring Grace's memory by refusing to let tragedy define her forever. If Harper's story resonated with you, if you felt her pain, her rage, her strength, do me a favor. Hit that like button, not for me, but for every woman who's been betrayed, who's been gaslit, who's been told her pain doesn't matter. Let's make sure Harper's story reaches the women who need to hear it. Drop a comment and tell me what you would have done in Harper's situation. Would you have taken the private settlement? Or would you have gone public like Harper did? I read every single comment, and I love hearing your perspectives. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. We all know a Harper, a woman who's been betrayed, who's been dismissed, who's been told to be quiet and graceful and forgiving when she has every right to be furious. Send this to her. Let her know she's not alone, that her anger is valid, that she deserves better. And if you want more stories like this, stories about women who refused to be broken, who fought back against impossible odds, who chose themselves when everyone told them to be selfless, hit that subscribe button. Because I have so many more stories to share. Stories that will make you cry and cheer, and feel less alone in this world. Thank you for listening to Harper's story. Thank you for witnessing her pain and her strength. And remember, if you're going through something similar, you're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're not being dramatic. You're seeing clearly, maybe for the first time. And that clarity, as painful as it is the first step toward freedom. Take care of yourselves. Honor your truth. And never let anyone make you doubt what you know in your bones to be real. I'll see you in the next story.